Hey all, here are OS Reviews. Today we're taking a quick look at the MorePro H86. This is a budget fitness tracker slash lightweight smartwatch that sells for around 35 bucks, which makes it super cheap and affordable. And to be honest, we've seen quite a few of these entry-level smartwatches, but what makes this one a little bit more interesting is it has a taller stretched aspect ratio for the display, which measures 1.57 inches diagonally. It definitely has inspiration taken from the more well-known and expensive Honor Band 6 and Honor Watch ES that was pretty popular earlier in the year. There is sleep tracking and also 3 ATM for water resistance, which is pretty neat. 8 very basic sports that it can track, things like running and jogging, but it doesn't have built-in GPS, so you have to be connected to your phone if you want to track your route on a map. With a single charge, the watch can last for around 7 days of usage, so pretty good battery, but compared to other budget smartwatches, it isn't anything we haven't seen before. And you can customize the watch dials as well via the companion app. Charges using this magnetic cable, and there's also a QR code that you can scan to download the companion app. First impressions with the smartwatch is the build quality is not shabby for only a $35 device. It actually has an aluminum frame that is wrapping all the way around, so it feels actually pretty sturdy, a little bit more hefty and dense than you would expect. Actually, compared to the Honor Band 6 and the Honor Watch ES, these actually have a plastic band. And then we get just the LCD IPS display, which offers pretty decent viewing angles. Of course, it's not an AMOLED display or OLED like the more expensive Huawei Honor watches, but still is pretty good looking, I would say. It doesn't get maybe the brightest that I've ever seen, but decent. If you have a little bit of sunlight hitting on it, it still seems to be visible enough, and it's ever so slightly curved in terms of the glass, which makes swiping feel overall not too shabby. And finally, on the very back, we have just the charging contacts along with the optical heart rate sensor. The back panel here is made out of a polycarbonate plastic. Silicone straps can also be removed if you want to replace them, and overall it is a pretty slim watch, so even if you have smaller wrists, it's not going to feel too large or obtrusive. We can long hold on the main screen here for a few seconds to change between 5 built-in watch faces, and you can also send over additional custom ones from the companion app, but at once the memory can only hold 5 of these. And overall they do look pretty attractive in terms of the options. Here's an analog one that also shows your heart rate and also the battery percentage remaining. Shows off the overall pretty vibrant and sharp looking colors fairly well. Now otherwise I can swipe down to access some quick shortcuts, things like changing the screen brightness. There's 4 levels which you have to adjust manually. There is no auto sensor here. There's also a night mode or do not disturb that will prevent any notifications from coming through if you're connected to your phone via Bluetooth. It can also tell you things like text messages and social media messages that you've missed by slightly vibrating. There's also the weather, although you aren't able to actually view anything in terms of the next day ahead or show you anything else like the highs or the lows or humidity levels. So very, very basic way that this information is displayed, but at least it is present. And you can also take a look at a stopwatch and quickly launch into this as a quick command. Haptic vibrations here feel decent for a smartwatch, and this model doesn't have a built-in microphone, so no calling functions, but you can quickly glance to see some very basic things that you may have missed. Now I can swipe over on the left here to access a longer list of all the applications. Now we can see that kinetic scrolling is a little bit on the slightly more choppy side. It's definitely not the smoothest watch, especially if we compare it with the real device from Honor. We can see that it's going to be a lot more responsive in terms of the overall scrolling action. You're able to take a look at things like the aforementioned heart rate, and it will give you a quick map that tells you your measurement throughout the day, although for more details, of course, you would have to go over to your phone, swipe over from the edge to go back by 1 page, and you can also take a look at your estimated blood pressure, very similar. It's taking that using the optical heart rate sensor, and you can also start a workout. So here are the 8 different kind of sports activities that you can track. Pretty simple stuff, but this gives you an idea: football, basketball, badminton, jump rope, swimming, cycling, running, and walking. Now if you begin an activity, it's just going to continuously record your heart rate during the entire session. You'll also find a remote control for the music. If you're playing something back on your phone, you can play, pause, and skip tracks, although the device itself definitely doesn't come with any built-in memory of its own. You can also access the functions then by scrolling to the right, and it will be showing up as different widgets or cards, things like number of steps you've completed out of your daily goal, distance and calories burned. Again, that heart rate information you can also show. Sleep data, so sleep tracking is done automatically, but it's only going to work precisely at night. So if you're taking a nap, let's say at noon, it's not going to really track that as sleep, which is similar to other budget smartwatches. If you want that really precise sleep tracking, throughout the day, then that's something that only the Honor Watch, the Amazfit watches, and Apple Watches can do. Still, it works decently. I do find it to be a little bit sometimes underestimating my sleep. So personally, I didn't find it to overcount anything, but in my test compared to the aforementioned, let's say, Honor Band, I found it to be sometimes tracking 30 minutes less of sleep. Typically, when you first fall asleep, it tends to record a little bit of a later time, but overall good enough in terms of giving you a rough score. The pedometer is actually pretty accurate. I found it to be neck to neck compared to the other smartwatches I tried it with, so pretty good. You can shake it and it's not going to really count it as an accidental step, tuned quite well. And then the same thing goes with the heart rate monitor. Thankfully, this one is also not too bad in terms of its accuracy, is relatively in line with other modern smartwatches. The FitCloud Pro app is a generic one that also works with other smartwatches from this company, and you can simply refresh it by pulling down. It'll tell you your step count and just a bit more data that you can visualize in a larger chart, compare it with other stats from during the week, and see how things are going to rank. Here is a quick look at what a heart rate map looks like. It is also tracking that during night as well. Under the device settings, you're also able to take a look at your battery percentage, set up alarm clocks for it to trigger, and you can also set up other reminders like drinking water, sedentary reminder, if you want to turn the weather function on or off, raised awake, so this will allow the screen to turn on whenever you're flicking your wrist, and also the elevated heart rate measurement. This is the aforementioned mode where it can trigger an alert if you've exceeded a certain threshold that you can set. Take selfies using the watch as a remote, and here is the aforementioned dial library, which contains additional watch faces that you can download and push over. So it's great to see that there is a variety that you can try out. Now, it's by no means going to be the most exhaustive collection compared to other, let's say, Android Wear watches, but also not too bad considering, again, this is only a $35 watch at the end of the day. So that's more or less it as far as our quick hands-on review of the MorePro H86. Again, an ultra budget smartwatch, only 35 bucks. And things that I do like about it would be the build quality is quite good. Again, a metal frame and glass make it feel pretty solid, and overall it's decent in terms of the display, looks pretty nice and modern. But again, this is a very basic smartwatch at the end of the day, and shows that budget smartwatches, or fitness trackers I should say, are also getting a little bit better these days in terms of the quality and the overall fit and finish. So if you're interested, you can check out more details in the links below. For now, that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. That's been the H86.